This is the Youthful and Useful podcast by Leap Africa.
Some leaders don't even know how to manage. They don't know their best hand. They don't know their best hand. They don't know how to manage. They don't know how to even appraise. They don't know how to, if you tell them, appraise your team members. They don't know who is working, who is not working, who needs the encouragement, who needs to be placed on performance improvement plan, who need to be promoted, who need to be sent for training. They don't have that idea because they don't even know how to manage performance. So many people don't quit organization. They quit the manager. It's the manager they quit, not the organization. So it's important that if you want to keep your employees, you have to train and ensure that the managers are the right fit.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone from where you are joining us from. This is yet another episode of the Youthful and Useful podcast brought to you by Leap Africa. Leap Africa is a youth development organization that focuses on impact across 5 areas. One of those areas is education, entrepreneurship, employability, active citizenship, mental health, and well-being. And today we are discussing the topic of staffing the organization. And as usual, I'm not joined here by myself. I have someone here with me who has very many years of experience in the HR space. Right now, she's currently the HR business partner. And her name is none other but Adesua Iyoyojie. Good afternoon, Ma. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
Yes, it's so great to have you join us here. We know that you'd have made time out of your schedule to be here physically, but we're just having to make do so we can still soak out of your experience and just gain some nuggets that will help the upcoming social entrepreneurs and those who are already practicing social entrepreneurs in their various businesses. And so to kickstart the conversation, we had a chat. I thought it would also be beneficial for them to hear. You started off with a background in sociology. I studied psychology, so I really loved that, and I found that interesting. And I just wanted to know and understand how that pivot happened from human behavior, core human behavior sociology, to managing behavior, human resources management. How did that pivot happen for you? If you could just provide some backstory. Over to you, Ma.
Shortly after graduation, I started as an admin officer, after which I progressed to the role of a HR officer, and the rest is history. I started, since then I have been I've been in the HR space, and working in HR, one beautiful thing about working in HR, it gives, when you can offer solutions to businesses and also the talents, that's the human resources, it's a wonderful experience. And so it's much more than the traditional HR of years back used to be just hiring, hire and fire. People usually think HR is all about to get people and to fire them, but it's actually much more. It has progressed into business partnership that human resource has become an integral part of every organization. It has become one of the most important function or units in every organization. And so, the fact that this profession is a core part of every business, it makes it much more interesting.
Thank you so much, Ma, for that insightful response. And just riding off what you have just responded, at what point does a co-founder begin to think about staffing an organization? I'm just riding off the response you gave. At what point does a CEO, does a founder, does a co-founder begin to think about staffing the organization? At what point does the HR process for an organization typically kick off?
Okay, for staffing the organization, it's not like I always tell new business owners, SMEs, small media enterprises, that is, if you can do the job by yourself, especially at the beginner stage where you really do not need much staff, You do it so you can cut costs. But as the business begins to grow, you now select important roles. You don't just employ people for the sake of being an employer. You select important roles that are critical and are needed. People that relieve you from, because as a CEO, you are, of course, you are the brain box of the company. You have a lot of things to think about. People that will help you relieve the stress as the CEO. These are critical roles. You you spot them, and you go to the labor market, and you look for them. If, for example, you're a CEO and you have been the one you've been the operations manager, and you've used your network to get clients, in that case, you don't need an operations manager, and you don't need a business development person, because you are doing that role. But if you need someone that could help you to make your schedule easier, to make your meetings more efficient, then you can now get a personal assistant and maybe an admin officer. But recruitment and staffing is just all about needs. It's about needs, critical needs, and you know how you can fill them, not just for the sake of having staff in your company.
Okay, thank you so much, Ma, for that response. So in staffing, you've talked about recruitment, you've talked about choosing. What does that process actually look like from attracting the right talent to even knowing how to throw open for those who are just starting their businesses, knowing how to cast their net, so to speak, to attract the right talent to the point where the talent is being onboarded. I feel like that's a process. And I was just thinking you could walk us through what that process looks like.
Okay, now it's all about brand, the company brand. Everybody wants to work with a company that knows how to take care of employees, that have that shares they have common goals and values with. If every company can work on their brand presence. We are grateful for social media. You can learn more about a company, what they're all about through the use of social media. So every company should work on their company brand. Ensure that your brand is rich. You must not be a big five company. You can still be a small company and still have a good branding that people want to work with you. How you treat customers is really important, because your customers have, the things they say about you. People will want to work with you. People want, I would like to work with this company that everyone has good things to say about them. So your customers are really important. You treat your customers well, so they can have good things to say about you. Then when you start with that, then people will want to come in and be a part of that team when they see how you treat customers, especially people that share the same goals. There are people that just like to serve, and when they observe that your company serves people and they serve people well, they want to be a part of that. They want to be a part of that journey.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. Two things that jumped out to me from what you said is one is branding precedes attraction of talent. And the other thing is mission driven organizations. People want to join mission driven organizations. They want to be part of something bigger than themselves. And it just goes to show that the idea of businesses is that businesses exist to solve problems. The business is not typically supposed to be redundant, but to be a problem solving business, a problem solving endeavor, meeting a certain need in a certain space. Thank you so much for sharing. I just wanted to, if you were to chip in and just provide some things to watch out for someone who is hoping to start a social enterprise, knowing fully well that first of all, many of these things start on a purely voluntary basis. There is no remuneration, there is no motivation, or let me say monetary motivation in this context. What will you tell the CEO, the co-founder, or the lead in that business enterprise? How you explain to the lead to motivate the people he is bringing on board, having identified that he probably needs legal, he probably needs HR, he probably needs marketing. What can he sell to those people? What can he pitch to those people to keep them tied to the vision?
Okay. Now, for small media enterprises, because of how um most of them are always very, really, really, really short on cash because they are still looking for founders. Sorry, they're looking for sponsors, looking for collaboration. So they don't really go for experienced people in the field. And from experience, those are the people that understand because they've worked for years, they understand the risk, what is involved, how important it is to be diligent and efficient in the workplace. So getting those kind of people for small businesses might be hard because of the budget and the pays and everything. So the other way you can get people to, that share in your mission and your values and goals as a small business is to get um, fresh graduates from the market. And most of them are always very young and ready to work and excited to work. And they'll be grateful for the experience. Many of us that started off when we were just fresh graduates, we were grateful for the company that gave us a chance, even when we did not have experience. And we worked passionately because we were grateful. We wanted to grow. We were hungry for success. So those are the kind of people SMEs should look out for. People that want to grow, people that that are passionate about getting into the labor market, people that can be trained, people that you can go with, your business can go with, that can understand your business, understand where you are coming from. These are the people to look out for. Then as time goes on, you can promote them, you can develop them into what you want them to be. But these are the best set of people to get because of their hunger to work, their hunger to contribute to the society. When a fresh graduate is coming straight from the university, he's used to just going for classes and coming back. He has not really done anything. He has not really, really offered anything. Nobody knows the skills he has. He has not presented to the world what he can offer. But the first company he works with, he tries to prove himself, tries to show what he's all about. So I think those are the people SMEs should look out for.
Okay. Targeting those who are hungry, passionate, and ready to work. Thank you so much for sharing. And I just wanted to
Yes.
follow up on that question and ask the what exactly makes effective recruitment? What exactly makes effective recruitment, and why is it crucial for both profit-oriented businesses and even non-profit-oriented businesses?
Okay. It's like filling a piece. If you have a square roll and you go in to put a round peg, it's going to distort a lot of things. A bad hire can make things go from bad to worse because this person is coming in with the wrong experience, the wrong attitude, especially the wrong attitude. You know, if someone does not have skills, you can train them, but if someone is coming in with the wrong attitude, it can distort a lot of things. So that is why it is crucial to have a recruitment strategy. You have a recruitment plan. For roles, the kind of assessments to give, and relevant assessments to give. I'll give an example. For example, for the role of a sales executive, you can't be giving that kind of person an CBT mathematics test. CBT mathematics text might be for general, but this test is not specific for that role. You are not employing an accountant, so why is this person writing math test? Instead, you should ask the person, behavioral questions to test their ability to see how their temperament is, how their character is, how they behave towards clients. You have to determine the right kind of assessment to give. You don't just give generic assessments because it's an interview. You have to determine the right kind of assessment to get the best result for yourself. So that's it.
Thank you so much. That's really interesting. You've said a lot of things in just what you said. You said that attitude is definitely more important than skill. That's exactly
Yes.
what you have said. It's easier
Yeah.
to train someone who is unskilled, but to learn attitude, it's more of a task that is
You
Herculean
can
in
always, you
nature.
can always,
Another thing you
you can
said,
take someone that has no skills, invest 3 or 6 months in them, and they will learn it. But someone that has a bad attitude, you don't even know where to start from. Because these are
that's
people are made up their backgrounds, their religious, their exposure. You don't, there are a lot of things that training cannot really, 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 especially
that's absolutely
especially
interesting.
attitude problem. Yes, you can training cannot really solve attitude problem.
Wow, thank you so much. Another thing you said is on the need analysis. Just when you said that analogy of fitting a square peg in a round hole and just making sure that our needs are properly analyzed so we know the
Yes.
gaps that exist, know the exact experience that is required, the exact skill that is required, and the interpersonal bit of it to know whether there's going to be a fit in this. And that's really important because I know that one of the mistakes that many social entrepreneurs do is they just jump off to hire, not considering what role is this person actually coming here to fill, what goal is this person coming here to achieve. And then the last thing you said is on tailoring assessments to the specific role, tailoring assessment to the specific role, and that's really important. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I just wanted to ask, how can technology be leveraged to enhance the recruitment process?
Okay. Before technology, became popular, the usual process of doing recruitment is to put it out there, see CVs, call people for interview, send. Back in the days, we have post office where we send letters. People go to the post office to get letters to see if they've been employed. But now, with the use of technology, people can stay in the comfort of their homes and even get emails. They can stay in the comfort of their home and engage, in interviews and interactive sections. And for the part of the recruiter, it makes the work easy. For example, we have so many applicant tracking systems now that can help you filter CVs, send invites, follow up with candidates, even as far as following them on social media, building a personal relationship with them. Technology has done a whole lot in helping people. Back in those days, recruiters have the first time they meet a candidate is when the person is resuming, because probably they have to send a letter from Lagos to Abuja through post office to inform the person that the person has been employed. And probably maybe the person applied through post office for the role for that role, and the back and forth. But with technology, you can even be in the UK and interview someone in Nigeria without seeing the person, just the way we are having this conversation now. I'm in Abuja and you are in Lagos, and we are still having this conversation. So technology has really helped a lot in ensuring that recruitment process are easier and faster. Every recruiter I know now is not working hard, it's just working smart, and which to me is the best way to work smart.
Thank you so much. That's very lovely. That's very lovely. So technology definitely comes in handy. And just to ride off that, what systems have helped you in your work as HR? What tools, what systems have helped you in your work as
Okay, I
HR?
mentioned the applicant tracking system. We have a lot of them. We have a lot of them. We have a whole lot of them. We have applicant tracking systems. We have ERPs, that's enterprise resource planning system. We have HRO information system. We have a lot in the market, and I have used quite a number of them that I don't know. Saying this on this podcast might be might be an advertisement,
I
and I don't know
understand.
if they booked
I
an
understand.
advert
That's absolutely
spot
fine.
with you people. So that's the reason why
I
I'm being
understand.
careful now to mention names. But generally, I've used ATS, I've used HRMS, I've used ERP, and these are wonderful systems that any HR person watching this can just go online and browse and make research on the one that is best for his need or our needs, and go with it.
So I
All
caught
right.
all you said. Yes, I caught all you said. The ATS, the HRIS, and the ERP. Cuts
Yeah.
that. Cuts that. All right. So I wanted to ask. I think I wanted to speak to one of the things that one of the things that we sort of see in this day and age is, or one of the problems I would say, is retaining talent. And this is especially because in the for-profit sector, typically talents are, so to say, paid higher. In that's on the average, and in the non-profit sector is not. We don't see that as much. So how do we manage retaining talents in the non-profit sector, knowing fully well that crossing over to the profit sector, there is the provision of a higher pay?
Okay, you mean how to get volunteers?
No, the talents have already been gotten, they're already on board, but how to retain them in the competitive, yes, in the competitive market?
Okay. All right. NGO and profit or non-profit, it's the same everywhere. The best way to retain your talent is to let them see that they are appreciated. Um, let them see that they are appreciated, their work is appreciated, and they are seen, they are heard, and their job is sustained. People would like to work in a place that they know that there's job security, and all their efforts is appreciated. And number one way to do that is to ensure that their performance is managed. Engaging them, ensuring that there's growth. People want to stay in a place that there's growth. They know that they can they can draw a career plan for themselves, and it's feasible. They tell themselves in 3 years, in 5 years' time, I want to be this, and I will do this to achieve this. And the organization helps them, um, encourages them, and that's the best way to retain your talent. When people feel that their work matters and they matter, and
Mm.
there's a career trajectory. People don't stay in places where they know that they work and the only thing they do is just to get paid. Their performance is not rewarded, it's not appreciated. There's no growth. They just know that they are working. There's a difference between a work and a job. A job, for a job, you grow. You know that you can calculate in so years time I'll be so this. But for work, you just earn money every month. You earn money to take care of yourself, but there's no. You just do it for to keep body and soul together. There's no growth, nothing. But for a job, you know that you are growing. Your performance is managed. You are appreciated. Your contributions are noted. You are growing. You know that you are growing. That's a job. So many people want to work in a place that is not just a work, but it's a job.
No, thank you so much, Ma. I really found that interesting. Motivation, clarity in career progression plan, and one of the last things you said was listening. And I just want you to just expand on that bit a little more. How exactly do can an organization provide a listening platform where the employees can actually feel heard? I know one of the things that I have come across is a suggestion box, but it feels like that suggestion box is just, so to say, a dump site that never gets visit. So in this modern day and age, how exactly can HR personnel or the arm of the organization, the department itself, and if peradventure the CEO is playing that role of HR in the interim, how can the person provide a listening platform that is actually effective to hear out the employees?
Okay. Now it depends on this on size of company. Some people do one-on-one interactive sections to get
Okay.
feedback from employees. Set a day to have one-on-one sections with people. If that is not possible, you can have town hall meetings. You can set out a day in the month, maybe the last Friday of a month or the last Monday of a month, any day, and you gather your employees. and have a talk with them. But if this cannot be done, then encourage line managers to have um, review and feedback with their employees, with their subordinates. It helps a lot. It helps a lot. People give feedback in these sections. Like I just mentioned now, it depends on the size. If it's a small scale company, the CEO can do it one on one with the employee, and also guarantee their safety, ensure that whatever it is they say will not be used against them, or they will not
Mm,
be bullied in the process. So provide a safe space for the
safe
employees
space.
to talk
Yeah.
about it. Yeah, suggestion boxes are good, but you can always do it one on one. You can do town halls. You can where people can talk about what they can give suggestions on how, not only how they can be um, feel more accepted or feel more at peace in a company. They can also give ideas on businesses. You know, you see so many business coming up today. It's an idea of one person. Tesla, Microsoft, Meta, Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram. One person sat down and had that idea. You will be shocked to learn the things that people have, the ideas that people have that can help your business. So don't just see employees as people that you pay for their work. You can also get one or two ideas from them. People working in big organizations like Facebook, all the changes or all the upgrades you see, it's not the owner of the company that comes up with these ideas. It's people working there that comes up with these beautiful ideas. So you can also take advantage of um, the talents you have and the kind of creative progress they can bring into your company. But these talents will not want to prefer solutions to problem or bring ideas if they're not appreciated. They keep it to themselves and they take it somewhere else.
Mm. Thank you very much. While you were speaking, I think one of the things that occurred to me is that for these line managers or for these people in leadership to be able to accomplish this listening culture, it means that they should have some skill sets. And I know that one of the things that falls under the HR purview is learning and development. So I just wanted you to please highlight some of the necessary and core skill set for leaders to be able to harness this, because what you have presented is that there is a treasure in having your teammates speak, in having your subordinates speak, in having your supervisee speak. So how exactly do they go about developing those talents that are core to harnessing these treasures?
Okay, for leadership, number one, you have to, every leader, before everyone attains any kind of managerial role, they need to go through serious leadership training. They have to learn how to manage performance. Some leaders do not even know how to manage. They don't know their best hand. They don't know their best hand. They don't know how to manage. They don't know how to even appraise. They don't know how to,
Mm,
if you tell them, appraise your team members. They don't know who is working, who is not working, um who needs the encouragement, who needs to be placed on performance improvement plan, who needs to be promoted, who need to be sent for training. They don't have that idea because they don't even know how to manage performance. So number one is to train them how to manage performance, take them for a performance management training. Then number two, how to lead people, how to lead people. Then also very important, emotional intelligence, leadership is more about dealing with people and know how, when to react, when not to react. Then how to be a leader. As a leader, your subordinates look up to you to speak for them when they are not there, protect them. They know that their job is safe because you have their back. They know that if they are working well, you will always reward them. You will always speak out for them. So these are core trainings that leaders should go through. And then I don't think any organization should put anybody in any managerial role without these trainings, and they must pass these trainings. These trainings are really, really important because if you put a head, so many people do not leave organizations, they leave toxic managers. So many people don't leave organizations, they leave toxic managers. You see, many people, the reason why many people quit their job is because their manager is toxic. The manager cannot lead well. The manager is making the work difficult for them. The manager is making it difficult for them to express themselves, to work harder because it's such a difficult thing to work with this manager. So many people don't quit the organization. They quit the manager. It's the manager they quit, not the organization. So it's important that if you want to keep your employees, you have to train and ensure that the managers are the right fit.
Wow, thank you so much for that. That's such a lot of insights you have shared, and it's interesting to also hear from what you have saying, from what you have said, or from what you're saying that the training is actually not one off. It's something that is consistently done over a period of time, refreshers constantly done, so that the managers just have that at the top of their minds, knowing fully well that, as you said, employees leave managers, not necessarily an organization. And these people serve as coaches, sometimes they serve as mentors, and they can make or mar the trajectory of the certain employees' journey. So that's very important to note. And I think that's also a call to action for everybody who is in a managerial position or who is overseeing an NGO to give themselves a constant personal development, constant professional development, making sure that this skill set you have talked about, conflict resolution, knowing how to manage people, emotional intelligence, that is constantly developing so that they can bring out the best of their employees. Thank you so much for sharing, ma'am. And I want to ask this question on best practices for organizations. What best practices can organizations adopt to fit their unique contexts and goals, whether they are profit oriented businesses or whether they are social enterprises? What are the HR best practices that they can adopt? The things that they should and must do?
All right. Currently in Nigeria, we have the Nigerian labor law that is quite robust, even though it needs some it can always be better. But for now, it's quite robust. But for best practices, always the International Labor Organization. That is the labor organization in charge of all labor issues all over the world. I think HR persons should look forward to making the ILO their guide, so you don't go against standard practice. It's good to follow the Nigerian labor law, also the ILO. They always come up with trends, new HR trends, new practices. So it's always good to keep up with new trends and practices. So you don't, so you stop, you know that you are practicing HR the right and correct way. So you know that you're not just only an HR person in Nigeria. You know that even if you travel out, you can always continue from where you stop.
Okay, thank you so much, man. I wanted to ask one last question, but before I go in there, I just want to take like a short break to just focus on you more squarely. And what would you say is your biggest win? The thing that has maybe given you the most joy, the most fulfillment in this HR journey of yours? What would that be? And then also, what is your maybe your biggest or your lowest moment on in the journey, just to encourage someone out there?
Okay, there are always lowest moments. I can't really think of one. There are lowest moments. For example, when employees are not performing and um when employees are not performing and it seems like your recruitment strategy failed for in that. But there are a lot of things that make employees fail or not perform. It has more it has much to do with some circumstances surrounding them, how what is happening in their lives. But when they bring it into the workplace, it affects you as an HR person because you're expected to ensure that employees perform. And when they are not performing, it affects you. Therefore, I moments I've worked with startups and I single-handedly raised brought in talents that stayed for years, and this talent we went on to, we went on to build products, company grew, and everybody grew, and everyone was developed. To me, that's one of my achievements to build an HRO department from scratch, maybe from just one staff to from one staff to about 62 staff. Yes, and the attrition rate was as low as 3-4%. It was so low that most of the times you don't find people filling one role in several months because people stay for long. So to me, that's my achievement.
Wow, that's interesting. Thank you so much for sharing. So for someone who may just be in a situation where they are feeling low as a social enterprise owner or a co-founder or founder or CEO, or even someone who is in the HR department. I hope that that encouraged you. And as we bring this to a close, I'd just like to ask this last question. One of the very sensitive topics when it comes to HR is firing, and another one is transitioning. So I just wanted you to also share on how best an organization can manage those two things. One of the things you had said is how one of the things you have said is how an organization yes, one of the things you said is how an organization, people will definitely come and people will definitely go, even though it will be at a controlled rate. But how is that process managed? And in the event that it's a maybe misfit, is a talent was brought on and that talent is not performing for one reason or the other, managing a firing process, how exactly is the best way to handle that? Or what's the best practice standard?
Okay, when employees are not performing, the first thing is to let them know they are not performing. You know, firing them is not the first option. You let them know they are not performing, and the line manager and the employee agrees to a performance improvement plan. This plan um, usually stretching 2 months on how the employee can improve their performance. It's a plan. The employees will say what his challenges are and how it can be better. The person needs to go back for more training. The person needs to improve in so area. So there's a plan, and the plan is being followed. That is the first option. Then is after this plan has been exhausted and has gotten to its expiration date. They could revisit the issue, the whole thing. Okay, this area, this person has performed well in the last 3 months. This way the person, or the person did not even perform at all. The person did not improve at all. Then you cannot let the person go. But you first inform the person that the person is not performing. It's important that they know that they're not performing. Really important, because so many people have no idea that they're not even performing. And also they need to have KPIs, realistic ones. Let them even know the goals that they are pursuing. So people don't know that there are goals, that they should have goals, things that they should look forward to doing in the workplace. And their line managers will not communicate this with them and expect them to just perform. So these are issues that need to be sorted out. So employees need to know that they're not performing, and they need to be a plan on how to improve their performance. Then firing should be the last resort. It's not always the first resort.
Thank you so much for sharing. I think the most striking thing to me in what you said is clarity of expectation from line manager. Let that clarity be there from the get-go so that the person even understands what they're being evaluated by at the end of the journey. Thank you so much, Ma, for joining us at this time. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Just
Thank
as a
you.
recap for our viewers, we have talked on things bordering on leadership, on recruitment, on hiring and firing, on learning and development, on different things that pertain to human resource management. And our guest today is Adesua Iyoyojie. Thank you so much, Ma, for joining us. Even though we couldn't have you here, we are glad that you are still able to make time out of your busy schedule to
Thank you.
be here with us. Thank you so much. And if you are joining us for the first time, we are Leap Africa. I will encourage you to go over to our website, leapafrica.org, to just connect with us, see what more we do, and you can also be a part of our programs that we carry out. Thank you so much. Please like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye for now.